And thank you and welcome to all of those joining on Facebook as well. Today is Tuesday, November 29th, and we are excited to bring our first town hall formatted, really featuring different things that our units are doing around the country. So we're going to have time for questions later, but really excited to introduce just this format to begin with. We're going to feature some of our fundraising events from around the country. I know that there are a lot of really good fundraisers that take place. We are looking forward to being able to feature more of these in the future, but really for now, trying to give everyone a taste of different things that our units are doing, success stories, and hopefully being able to share ways that we can replicate these in different units around the country. With that said, we will be hosting a series of these every other month. Continuing in January, we will have more details about that later. Again, if you are able to join these events live, we appreciate it and we'd love to have you here. If you can't, we will be recording these. They will be posted right now. It's going to be on Facebook Live. So that will be on the American Sokol Facebook page. And then we will also have these available later on the YouTube channel for the American Sokol. So these will be posted later on. Without further ado, though, I'm going to feature and highlight the real stars of our town hall today. They're going to talk a little bit about their fundraising events, and I'm going to just introduce the people that we have. We have from Sokol West in Texas, we have Mary Beth Lowak. She's going to talk about how Sokol West is involved in the West Festival, selling funnel cakes and really engaging with another existing events in the community and making sure that they can get the Sokol name out there. Joyce Tesarek is going to be joining us. She's here from Sokol, Minnesota. She's going to be talking about the Czech and Slovak Festival that they hold up there every September. This is a great event. There's a lot of, I know, buzz about it each year, so we're excited for them to share. We also have Thomas Bedek. He is joining us from Sokol KHB in Ennis, Texas. He's going to talk about the 10K fundraiser that they host each year there. Then we have Julie Meyer, Jane and Howie Wise are from Sokol Greater Cleveland, and they're going to be talking about, some of you may have noticed this if you attended the American Sokol convention in 2018, but their Night at the Races event. It's a fundraiser and been a successful event for Sokol Greater Cleveland. And then finally, Cassie Croft from Sokol Spirit is going to be talking about the Oktoberfest event that Sokol Spirit holds each year. With that said, I'm going to introduce each person as they speak. So I'm going to take us off of the PowerPoint in a minute here. Each person, I do appreciate if everyone can pay attention. They're going to give a synopsis of the event they have. They're going to also talk a little bit about kind of what the event is, how it's planned, and how it's publicized, and share just really kind of the insight of what successes they've had. So I'm going to start off, as mentioned, with Mary Beth. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So she will be in here and we're ready to go share about the funnel cake booth at the West Fest.
Okay. My name is Mary Beth Dulock. I'm the president of Sokol West Gymnastics. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about our major fundraiser, which is the funnel booth. Each year we host this at West Fest, which is on Labor Day weekend. We have it on a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. I'm going to tell you a little bit of history back behind it. It all started with an older couple that we have that's been still members of Sokol West. They're Lil and Ray Matush. They started the first year selling just kolaches out of the booth. And eventually they went to a state fair and tasted the funnel cake and decided, hey, let's try this out. So the Ray had made up the rings to make the funnel cake. And at first we mixed it and put it in ketchup bottles and used it that way to make the funnel cakes. Then eventually we started making the batter in the booth and had fryers. But let me take you back a little bit. When they first started, they took pans of grease and actually made their funnel cakes, handmade them. So eventually we made little funnels and started back from there. Eventually we built a new booth because the old booth was not very good. So, and another thing, we did start out with kolaches and rosettes. But now we have ventured out of all that, and now we do funnel cake fries, fried Oreos, fried Snickers, nachos, pickles, and tea. We do everything in the booth now. We don't make it at our gym and then bring it. So, and we start like in May, already making our Oreos and Snickers, because we freeze all that before we bring it to the booth. Besides the funnel booth at West Fest, we also perform on a Saturday afternoon. The kids come out and perform to show their skills that we have, and then we promote our booth, that you come out and help promote our booth up there. Although our booth is functionable, we are looking to possibly upgrade that funnel booth. It takes a lot of work from all the members, the parents, the officers. It takes all of us to get the booth up and going, and to keep it going for the whole weekend. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Mary Beth.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll have some opportunity for some questions and some follow-ups in a little bit. I'm going to turn it over to Joyce now, and she's going to share a bit about the Czech and Slovak Fest in Minnesota. Oh, hold on one second, Joyce. You are on mute.
Whoops, thought you were unmuting me. Hi.
All right.
Anyway, that's better. I'm Joyce Tesarek, and I'm going to talk about our Czech and Slovak Fall Festival, which we've had now as our 33rd year. It started many years ago as a fundraiser for, we had heard about a Czech children's hospital that needed money. And so we just decided we would do this big Boya festival at a park. And we thought that would be great because there's a Boya every weekend there. And so we figured that would be a way to draw the regular people and then turn it into a Czech and Slovak focused festival and draw that crowd too. And over the years, it's grown to the point where we've had to change venues a number of times. And we've ended up now at our own hall, excuse me, which has worked out really well because we can showcase the hall as well. So our festival actually is inside the building and in our parking lot, and we've blocked off part of the streets. And for the festival, we have entertainment, which is our folk dancers, teens and youth, and other outside dancers that come, our singers, we have speakers. Inside, we have exhibits, educational sorts of things, a silent auction, vendors, the usual things that you have at a festival. And especially we focus on the food because people really like not only the hot dog and eternitsa type things, but we have chicken paprikash and goulash and things like that, which people like to try. We have bands. We've tried doing it 2 days where there'd be a band the night before, but it just extended our volunteers and our time and our setup time. Since it's quite elaborate, we decided we're better off just doing it on a Sunday. During COVID, we had it be a virtual silent auction, curbside takeout. People supported that really well, so we didn't have to close down those 2 years, but we're back to out in the parking lot again. I think you had asked about sort of how we break it down, and I think some of the really important things with a festival like this is that you, first of all, pick a date and start early. And we've decided the last Sunday of September is best for us because the weather's pretty standard, and then people put it on their calendar. And when you do an event like that, we have, there's some very active other Czech activities in some of the other communities, New Prague, Lonsdale, and that sort of thing. So it was important for us to not overlap events, partly because our dancers go down there and their people want to come up to us, and just as a courtesy so that, you know, we support each other and can advertise at each other's events. We also have a church that we use their parking lot, and so we need to coordinate with their big festival in the fall. So it's important when you're setting up to look into that sort of thing. I think having a really good committee is important, and we have a chair. I chair that, take care of the infrastructure, insurance, police, that kind of thing. But we have each area broken down, and I wrote them down here just so I won't forget. But we have someone in charge of exhibit, food, kids games, publicity programs, setup, takedown, silent auction, sweet shop, tickets, vendors, volunteers, that sort of thing. And we have the advantage of we have these people now that have experience, but we always meet in the fall after an event. We meet and critique it, and we ask for input from not only the people in the committee, but all the volunteers and anyone in our newsletter. We ask for things that would be feedback and keep that in mind for the next festival. And we usually have the same people willing to chair, although occasionally not, but they really gather their own, like the food will prepare, the food group gathers the group to make their food, bake the kolaches, that sort of thing. But at our meetings, we go through each of those areas and everyone has feedback to each area. So even though the cooks recommend what they'd like to cook this year, we all have feedback on it, or, you know, we need a gluten-free or this sort of stuff. So there's feedback from everyone. And I think that's been really important. We begin publicity really early. We make sure it's on our calendar on the website. And as I said, there's other activities in other areas. So we make postcards in our December or January meetings. We'll have a postcard made for the coming festival so that they can bring this to like Dojinki or some of the other events in the other communities. They hand out those postcards. And then of course it's in our newsletter and flyers people can hand out. So we do the publicity on that too. I think a couple things I thought in here is that we do like to invite other groups. There's other folk dance groups and things particularly, and it's wonderful to have them, to introduce them to our hall, but also they bring family and friends, and, you know, they get to know us too and buy our beer and, you know, things like that, which also adds festivities to the event. And we do have a program inside and outside. And I think that we're, you know, it allows people to go look through our hall too. I guess we can talk about it later, but I do, one of our real emphasis, one of the things we really emphasize is our volunteers. And to do this, it takes probably 100 or so volunteers between, you know, baking and all this sort of thing. And so we really try to keep them informed, like, of what their things are. If people have done a position in the year before, we try to ask them if they'd like to do that again. We try to match up people with another person that they would like so that they enjoy and make friends while they're volunteering. And then we thank them, make sure there's pictures of them that end up in our newsletter. Their names are in the thank you list for volunteers, that sort of thing. So I think a key thing on all your events is just to keep in touch with your volunteers, invite new ones, that sort of thing. So I think that was the main things I had.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joyce. That sounds like quite an event that you have up in Minnesota. Thank you for sharing.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm going to turn it over to Thomas, who's going to talk about the 10K fundraiser at Sokol KHB and NSXS.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good? Yay? Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right. The 10K started several years ago. We have fortunately had 4 halls that are actually in Ennis. We have the KJT, the SPJST, the Knights of Columbus, and Sokol. And each unit or each organization was having their own fundraiser. The 10K was giving away a Silverado truck. The Knights of Columbus was doing a Harley giveaway, and SPJST was doing farm equipment. And Larry Losnowski way back then said, yes, those are nice to have those things, but not everybody buys or wants to buy a certain thing, a truck or whatever, chance or whatever. And he said, why don't we just give away money? So that's what it did. We just give away 10K straight out. Do what you want to do with it. So anyway, we sell 400 tickets at $150 a piece. 2 guests come on the ticket. With that, it's an open bar. It is a steak dinner, baked potatoes, salad, and strudel. And so with that, then you have entertainment for the night. We have usually about 3 bands that come through and sing. We have music during the evening or during the dinner time. Then on top of that, then we have the other 2 bands that go through the night. With this, we also have chances to give away. We give away the $10,000 as prize number 1. Prize number 2 is $2,500. Third prize is $1,000. And then the 4th through 7th prizes is $250 each. And then the other prizes at 8 through 20 is $150 each, which gives you your chances to get your money back. So we just doesn't just focus on one. We try to give everybody a chance to get their money back, or to a little bit to increase themselves. And that seems to help in the sales because people know they have a chance, maybe not at 10,000, but at least they can come and get a good steak dinner and a good meal and a good chance to win some money. With that also, we do have other things. We do have the 50-50 giveaway. We walk around and we do a 50-50. And then we also do a game card. And what that is, if y'all know, is that Shelly Smiley, who's in real estate here, she usually drives this. She'll find someone to donate a prize. And then with that, the cards are cost so much. And then you buy a card. And then at the end of the night, you get out there, she'll pick one card, and then she'll eliminate everybody. And whoever's holding the last card that she has, then that's who wins it. So it's kind of a neat, it's kind of a intense builder, you know. So it gets right before we do all that before the 10K. So it's really good. We ask for a lot of donations. We ask for a lot of sponsorships from area businesses or people personal that do donate. A lot of times they'll donate prize money, which offsets a lot of the cost as well. We also have a lot of food sometimes donated. This past year, we had a lot of the meat donated, which was just really, really awesome. So with all that in mind, we start back usually in October, November with the Ways and Means Committee. They will start lining out everything, all the entertainment. They will pick a theme. This year is going to be James Bond 007. So everybody tries to dress up, play the parts or whatever. So it kind of makes it fun and interesting. And so with that, they lock all that in. We do have a kitchen committee. We do have people time to time, or here recently, we have a lot of people to step up to donate to cook the steaks, and they've done a fabulous job. We get a lot of people to donate their time and effort, and it's really, really good. But it is coordinated. We do have a decorating committee. We do have a kitchen committee. Of course, the bar takes care of themselves. They get their bartenders and things of that nature. So other than that, it's a really good event, really fun. And usually we can try to clear anywhere from between $27,000 to $28,000. So it's a well-worked event.
Thomas, just real quick, when do you host that event? When did you say it's held? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Thomas.
We host that the first Saturday of March.
Wonderful, thank you.
And yeah, because it is right in the wintertime. People are kind of looking for something to do, starting to get out, but it's not too cold. But we haven't gotten into the school time. So really, it's a really good time to have that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
How do you get a lot of non-NS members attending then? It's for associations. So the 28 grand, is that for all 4 clubs? You guys split it?
No. That's what we get. This is our fundraiser. I was just referring to that other organizations in the community have their own fundraiser, and our fundraiser is just to give away money. And it's at $10,000 as the top prize.
Perfect. Thank you, Thomas.
Mhm.
I'm going to add on here Julie Meyer and Jane and Howie Wise to the spotlight. They're going to tell a little bit about their Night at the Races fundraiser. I believe Julie's the point person for that now, and the Wises have helped run that over the years. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of them to tell us more.
So our Night at the Races fundraiser, I typically like to have that in May, somewhere near the Kentucky Derby time, because I think we kind of get a lot more interest around that. For planning, I need about 3 months ahead of time for advertising. And as far as advertising goes, we just send out flyers, and on that flyer, basically asking to purchase your tickets in advance. We have an advance sale ticket and a door ticket. Also in that flyer, they ask to purchase horses, and when we say purchase horses, if you're not familiar with the Night at the Races, basically 10 to 12 races, 10 horses in a race. They're all randomly selected races, so nobody knows which horse is going to win. First place, when I put the program together with the 10 horses in a race, everything is randomly selected. I try not to, if a family purchases 5 horses, I try not to put their 5 horses in one race to give them a little bit of a chance to win some races. So as far as purchasing horses, what that means is you get to name your horse. So we do get to see a lot of fun names coming out for horses, family names, things that mean something. So again, we sell a minimum. I need 10 horses in 10 races, so 100 horses. If your horse wins the race, you receive $25. So again, part of the flyer and the ask ahead of time is purchasing of the horses. And then the last thing I look for in advertising is sponsorships. We reach out to the local businesses in the community, our members who want to advertise. I mean, basically anybody who wants to advertise, you can either sponsor a race or just put a ad in the program. And program ads are $25 for a quarter page, $50 for a half page, $100 for a full page. If you want to be a race sponsor, that's $25 for a race sponsor, and it's basically just advertising at that point. So again, that those things kind of go out 3 months in advance. As far as the tickets go, the price of the tickets advance sale, we do $30. At the door, we do $40. And what's included in that, you receive a catered dinner, which traditionally has been chicken parmesan, some pasta, some veggies, rolls, salad. You also will have coffee and dessert in the ticket price. Beer, wine, and pop is also included in the price of the ticket. Our kind of thinking behind including the alcohol in the ticket is we get you a little liquored up and then you spend more money on races and betting. So so yeah, putting the beer, wine, and pop in the ticket, that's been helpful. And then kind of moving through the process over the next 3 months, obtaining the races. Now, in the past, we used to use Armchair Races. They provided us with a kit, which had the CD of the horse races. It had the betting tickets, the strip of the betting tickets for every single race. However, Armchair has gone out of business. So we were able to purchase the kit from them. They offered that to us. So I do have the kit with the race, the horse races itself. Again, there's 2 CDs, 12 races on a CD. Everything's randomized. So we just like pop the DVD in the laptop, throw the screen and the projector on the screen and just let the races run. So as far as kits go, I don't know what's out there right now. Like I said, we were just kind of fortunate that we have our own kit that we purchased. Moving forward, as far as the betting strips go, I do have now, a sample, so I can send that to a printer and have like betting tickets made up. Then after you obtain the races, start creating your betting tickets, stuff like that. Next thing is putting together your program. So after you sell your 100 horses, after you receive all your ads, for advertising, your program, all that kind of stuff, it's putting together the program. So that usually takes me a day to put all of that together, making sure everything is filled out right, front, back, how I'm supposed to get it over to the printer, PDF version, blah, blah, blah. There is a template that my printer has given me, so it makes it pretty simple to put that together. Now that I actually have that, anybody ever interested, just let me know. I definitely could share the template. It's pretty simple. So I put the program together, email it over to the printer, tell her how many copies I want. They print that out. We've been doing ours only in black and white to save some money. You can do it in color clearly, but the price of the programs go up. And then as we get towards the event, that's where all of our volunteers kind of come into play. We do have the setup, tables, chairs, serving line, tablecloth, screen, projector, setting the bar up. I tend to like to do that the night before, because if we're missing something, then I can run around the next day and pick things up as I need. So we have about 6 to 8 people coming to set up the night before. And then the day of the race, roughly about 14 to 16 volunteers. And the day of the race, you'll have a person at the admission table checking you in, giving you your assigned table number where you go. If you've paid in advance, you just get your program and go to your table. If you have to pay at the door, then you pay that person, get your program, go to your table. We do have an MC. I have a person running the videos. I have a person at the payout, the cashier, 2 people at the betting window. Buffet line, bartenders, sideboards. So the event, how it basically goes. We'll start with dinner first. When dinner's done, then we get into the races, and from there I basically pass it off to my MC, and he kind of runs with the event for the rest of the night. He'll introduce the race number that we're in. We'll show the lineup of the horses as they walk in, pause the video, and then everybody will go up to the betting windows and place their bets. And then when all the bets are placed, then we'll play the video, and everybody, hoots and hollers and cheers on their horses. The horse races go on. At the end of the race, then you go to the payout window and collect on whoever the winning horse is. And then that goes on, like I said, for 10 to 12 races, depending on how many horses you are able to obtain. Just a fun night of betting and sideboards, just, having a good time. Jane and Howie, do you guys have anything to add to that?
No, not really. Just what we want to let them know too is that the payout is determined. First of all bets that go in, half the money goes to the house. So you're not going to lose your tail on it per se. The other half goes into the winnings. And the winnings are determined by how many people have bet on the particular horse based on its name, etc. And then the MC will give the payouts anywhere from $2 or sometimes up to $12 if nobody has actually bet on that particular horse. So it's a lot of fun just to hear some of the names that are out there, the horses that people have come up with. And then it's always surprising just how excited everybody gets when that race is actually going on. And the race itself doesn't call out names, obviously, because we don't have that, just by horse number. And just everyone gets all excited watching as that race comes to a close.
Just want to add, if anybody's wondering how you determine the payouts, there's directions that came with the kit that tells you how to determine how to put it in your computer. And so obviously we already have it in the computer. So for us, it's not hard, but the first time it does have to be inputted somehow. So it's all done on the computer.
And that's something that we can share too. I don't think nobody needs to recreate, reinvent the wheel here. So I have templates, I have spreadsheets. So those are things we definitely could share.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jane and Howie. I've been getting a bunch of questions. I'm going to make sure that I ask those in a little bit from everybody that we've been getting in the chat. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Cassie to talk about Oktoberfest at Sokol Spirit.
Everyone. Oktoberfest is held at Sokol Spirit. It's a outdoor event, basically a street fest that's held the second Saturday of September. We are well into our double-digit years on this, so a lot of the things we've learned along the way have really made it a strong event for us, and we've noticed the community has started to expect this event every year. We offer, food, beverage, live music, children's activities, all in the parking lot. We do strive to earn funds from this event, and we do typically turn a profit between $1,000 to $2,000, just depending on the year and how things go. But really the main goal that this event has shifted into is to welcome locals to our space and welcome our returning families and members back to kick off the Sokol season, which ours always starts in September. The menu consists of house-made items like potato pancakes with our secret recipe, and sauerkraut and sausages, hot pretzels, kind of sticking with an Oktoberfest theme. We do have a beverage tent where we do have a Prost promo package where you receive an Oktoberfest Stein and there's an open bar for you. We also sell, beer, wine, seltzers, water, soda all day. Patrons mostly are buying beverages and food with cash. However, we do have a credit card option that we've been using for a few years now through our Square site that gets updated every year if we change prices or if we do it like a takeout event like we shifted to during COVID. That trend has actually been really appreciated by locals who don't really know that Sokol tends to be cash bar type situation. So they've really appreciated that and they tend to order more. The live music that we've brought in does consist of usually local cover or tribute acts, usually networked from our membership. So typically we'll do 1 to 2 acts during the late afternoon through the evening. Bands bring their own equipment and sound equipment if they need it. We're just not really set up for live band outside with a full mixing board and things like that. So we keep it pretty basic. We've also had a DJ in-house who will help run sound for the bands if he's working the event. We pay the live acts a range from like $200 to $600, kind of depending on the size of the act. Originally, Oktoberfest was kind of a class registration recruitment event. And like I mentioned before, it's shifted to be more of a community welcoming event. We've had various activities to attract kids and their families to Oktoberfest. We've invited the fire department, some local nonprofits. We've had gymnastic wheel demonstrations before. We also bring in a local business to come and provide like a crafting project area so kids can make something to take home. We've also hosted cornhole tournaments during the event. We do the 50-50 raffles throughout the event. Finally, we'll host a traditional Messkrugenstein Stein holding contest at the end of the evening, of course, when everyone's feeling pretty good. So that's kind of the overview of how the day runs and what's offered at the Oktoberfest. But in terms of how it's planned, I'm going to kind of mimic what some of the other folks have been saying, on the strongest points of how to get these things done is to start early. Really, to host the event, the early planning piece is to obtain your permits. So us in particular, we have to obtain a cafe license in order to sell the food and liquor in our parking lot. And we also have to get a tent for the large, or the permit for the large tent that we do rent. So typically the unit president will handle this when we set the date, which is typically April or May prior to the September event. So the event is run by a committee. There's really nobody that says they're the chair, and we're okay with that. We've noticed through the years, the breakdown of responsibilities has kind of shifted in a way where they've gravitated toward different areas. So one area tends to be equipment, so tents and facilities, entertainment, supplies, food, and beverages. It just kind of has gravitated in those groups. We usually only come together 1 or 2 times, and in recent years, it's just been virtually. We create an email thread where we share a Google sheet where we indicate the supplies that we do have at the gym already and what we need and the quantity that we need to order for the event. So we typically serve around 200 people at the event. So we always kind of try to do overage just to cover that, depending on if we have a really strong year, but we're usually at 150 to 200, very standard. I will often reach out personally to secure entertainment and activities for kids based on what membership contacts have. So if I know somebody has a friend that has a small business, we'll kind of tap into that. Or if I'm working in the farmer's market and I hear a band that's interesting there, I'll get their card and potentially hire them. So it's very small networking. So sometimes I might be in charge of entertainment, but various members are really securing that for me. For such a large scale event though, the committee approach has been unique. That the tasks have been really broken up and multiple meetings aren't needed to micromanage each task. So members of the group take ownership of a task. For example, ordering the tent, or I'm, contracting the band. And then those members are just empowered to handle the task without constant reporting back to the group, unless you need some feedback on something. So I think, once you get that strong core group, that can kind of document how they do their thing, they can be trusted to do it again or teach someone else how to do it. To run the event, it's a volunteer heavy event for us in comparison to the other events we run. We don't have a set system of volunteer recruitment like through classes. We utilize Sign Up Genius, a virtual platform, to manage our volunteers. Setup and takedown crews are definitely needed, and that's probably the heaviest lift, literally, for this event, since we're carrying tables and chairs and setting up extra tents and things like that. And I would say, if we have 4 people in the food tent at all times, a general runner, 2 people in the bar, the event runs smoothly. So kind of based on the volunteer shifts we've created in the past, it takes probably between 35 and 40 people to make this thing run no problems. So that's a bit of a heavier lift than our typical fundraisers that we run. So this is kind of the big kickoff to the year. So in terms of how do we get the word out about this event, we do create marketing materials pretty early. That we hand out in parades that Sokol Spirit participates in annually. So we are in the LaGrange Pet Parade. We are in the Brookfield 4th of July Parade. So that those are actual physical things that we hand out with save the dates and details of pretty much everything we have going on at the gym over the summer. The details of the event are also always at our farmers market booth, and that alone is a good publicity for the gym in general. But we do promote Oktoberfest there, and we attend that about 6 to 8 times over the summer. So it's constant save the date and reminder. The Brookfield Chamber of Commerce does promote our events on their own virtual platforms, which has been helpful because we're a member organization. We have a custom banner, we have outdoor building sign, we have solicited sponsors before where we've put up their signs. So the publicity, is paper, virtual, and physically on our building. We use our website, email blasts, Facebook. We do Facebook boosters. We've also used the event feature on Facebook just to kind of get people to get that on their feed, and then they send reminders. Hey, did you say you're going to Oktoberfest yet? So we use Facebook and virtual platforms in that way. But overall, the success of promoting the event really relies on promoting it all summer and creating a welcoming atmosphere when we're up and running in the parking lot itself. Because a lot of people don't know what the building does and what we're doing in there per se. But then when they come up and they learn a little bit more about it, we've seen a lot more new faces. Whether or not they join Sokol, they know of Oktoberfest, and that's been a really big selling point for our community event versus just a recruitment or a Sokol event. And that's Oktoberfest.
Thank you very much, Cassie. I'm going to bring back the rest of our panelists, and I'm going to, I know some of these questions were a little more broad, so I'm going to bring everybody back in here, but just wanted to kind of highlight the questions that were in the chat already, since we have a lot of those, and we've had some really good participation from everybody here. So I'm going to start off with the first question that we had was from Meg for the West Fest. Was just asking Mary Beth, how much do you charge for the food and how much do you typically make over the weekend?
The food cost, we had to go up this year because like everything else, our funnel cake mix had gone up. So we charge $8 for our funnel cake, which is about an 8-inch size plate. Our Oreos, we charge the 8, and the Snickers also. Tea is $2, like a solo cup, and then pickles were $1, and the nachos were $5 is what we charge. Usually by the end of the weekend, our profit, it all depends on how many people attend West Fest. Depends on what our profit is, a whole lot. It takes a lot of volunteers to get through that weekend also, which I didn't mention earlier, but we could probably make anywhere from $5,000 to, I don't know, $5,000 to $8,000 for that weekend, which in turn helps us get through our year through the West Fest, through our gym, to help us profit their way.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary Beth.
You're
And
welcome.
Joyce, we had a question, just you had mentioned when you were sharing that you gather feedback. What ways do you gather that feedback? Do you do that in person, in writing? And then do you utilize any of that feedback to maybe recruit people to join your committee? And you're on mute.
Right. We of course send emails to the people that have been on the committee because they're the ones often in booths, and we also to all the volunteers that have worked. But we also put a notice in our newsletter, which goes out to, I think today I just looked up 340 homes or something. And just for people who attended the festival, just for them, if they want to email some feedback or, but the volunteers particularly who are there, and then the regulars who come will usually give us some feedback on things that they liked, didn't like, how we could improve. And we definitely do try to incorporate that. And if people are interested, we keep names of people who contact us voluntarily, and we certainly would ask them if they want to participate if they haven't in the past.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joyce. Thomas, we had a question about the 10K. Just what is a 50-50 game? Can you just give a quick overview of what that is?
Yes, a 50-50 is that we sell raffle tickets for $1, and we just sell them for $1. And what it is half of the money goes to the hall, and half the money, and the other half goes to the winner. Now we will also have people to sponsorship or donate, sometimes funds. We will raffle off at the same time, if we feel people need more winnings, we will donate, say, another plate of food or some steaks for them, like the raw steaks that we didn't cook. We'll package them up for them and do that. Strudel, things of that nature. So it depends as the night goes. We just kind of throw that in there, and if people go, "Oh, I had a bad time," well, okay, we'll throw another strudel in there and we grab another number. So anyway, we made $1,700 off of doing a 50-50.
Wonderful. That's a great success. Thank you, Thomas. Got a few questions for night at the races. The first one is, do you sell tickets at the door in advance, and how do you sell them? And is there a special site, or how do you do this, the sales for tickets? And is there maybe a discount at the door, or if you do it in advance?
We do have an advance sale ticket. We typically charge $30, at the door $40. In the past, it's been cash or check. We're working to try to link to our website moving forward. We're going to try doing the PayPal. So like I said, in the past, we send a flyer out to our membership, and then they can mail it back to me to my house. And usually there's a check or cash in there.
Sounds good. Thank you. Was also asked, do you need to get like local or state licenses regarding the gambling? Is there any, and are there any other requirements regarding that?
We've never had to get in, never even came up, never had to worry about it. I'm not sure, just because we're a 501c3, if that has anything to do with it, but it's never been an issue.
Okay.
Night at the races are very popular in our area, so there are a lot of other groups that do them. So I'm thinking if we were required to, we would know about it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know. Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind for all of our attendees is state and local laws definitely vary. So if obviously that's something to keep in mind, making sure that we're adhering to legal practices when it comes to that.
Yeah, and that's a big thing when it comes to the alcohol permits. I think everybody has a different state liquor law. For our permits, if we are, you know, we have a member only permit for our bars. So if you're coming into an event and you're purchasing alcohol, we make there'll be $1 at the door and you're now a member for the day. So that qualifies you for a member for under our member permit. Now, if we are giving away alcohol, which in the Night of the Races situation, then there's no requirement for that because that's like a wedding or at your house, you're having an event. If you're giving away stuff, you're not required to have a permit. But again, that's Ohio, so everybody's permits are different.
Thank you, Julie. Also, was asked about this for that event, but also want to loop in Thomas on this. Have you thought about maybe a Zoom or a virtual way for people to engage in this event who can't physically be there? Are those options available for either the
Yeah,
town
we
players?
have a lot of people that buy tickets that just know that they're not going to show up. They're just there to support the organization. They'll give their $150 over and don't even worry about the state. Don't worry about nothing. Just if I win, call me. So
Wonderful.
And
we
have
can
people,
invite other units if y'all want to. Yes.
Love it.
and
Julie?
as far as supporting our events, buying horses, putting a program ad in or a sponsorship, that's how we typically get anybody from out of town. Having the Zoom, the virtual watching a race, I don't know how we would do that with the amount of traffic going on throughout the entire night. There's just way too many moving pieces. It's not like it's a stationary thing. So I can't think we would ever do that.
Okay, thank you. Cassie, we had a question about Oktoberfest. That's a one-day event, right? Can you give a little insight as just the timing of that event?
Yeah, so we do 3 to 10 is the actual event. Set up folks, we ask them to get there around noon. Because we do have to pull a lot from the gym to set up outside. The only thing that's set up to start with is a tent and a porta potty. So that's kind of the earliest start. We do, because we make the potato pancakes from scratch, the core committee will get together the Friday night before and make the batter. So that only really, we've got that down to about 1.5 2 hours max now. To get that done, and we make 2 5-gallon jugs of it.
I think 3, yeah.
Something like 3 of them. Yeah. So we've kind of got that down now, but usually the cleanup is, it's a heavy lift too, but if you get started before the event ends, we've been done around 11 cleaning that up before.
Thank you, Cassie. And Joyce, we
Cassie,
did have
quick
another
question,
question.
Adam, quick
Oh, go ahead,
question. How
yes.
big is the tent that you get, Cassie?
Oh, I feel like how many seats do we have under there? Like 50 seats.
It's varied over the years, but I think the average is a 20 by 20, maybe 20 by
Yeah.
30.
I think I'd say 20 by 30 is probably accurate.
Yeah, that's in case it rains.
And it has the lights already set up in it, so we can just plug it in and there's lights inside.
I also had a question for Joyce regarding your newsletter. Does that go to the community or does that just go to your members?
No, that goes to members or people who paid to have it, but we also put it on our website, so anyone who wants can go up and see that as well. We do have, like Cassie was talking about, we use the Facebook and all the virtual kind of things as well. Those are great publicity. And there is a local neighborhood, neighborhood couple newspapers that we can put an article into to advertise. And again, it's a real advantage having done this before because people who know, they know to look for us.
Thank you. And I did get a question for everybody that I thought was a good one. Do any of you track volunteer hours and look at maybe your income per volunteer hour? And also as you consider doing new events, have you thought about maybe using that as a tool, for selecting the events that you have on your calendar. It could be beyond this too.
Well, I have a thought on that. We never have, and that would be a little intimidating, and it would also really make our profit look depressingly smaller. But I think one of the things that we do as far as volunteers is we see those as the time where people really get to know each other and be friends and want to come back and do more things. That's why we try to match up volunteers with things that they like to do and with the same people over and over. We have a college team that bakes, and you know each other and you lunch together, and so the volunteering is part of the community building, that I think is super important. So I wouldn't just base, because I know the festival has so many volunteers, so many things, but people are kind of proud what they do. They like to see their name in the Slovo, and it's community outreach. It's a good fundraiser, but it's also way more just building connections with volunteers and the community. And, people just come out of there. This one particularly, maybe because it was our first, well, I guess it was second since COVID, but people just really came out of there. Oh, this best festival was so fun, and I think that's part of it as much as the fundraising. So, but no, we wouldn't make as much if we had to pay volunteers. We wouldn't do it if we had to pay volunteers.
Yeah, the question, to be clear, was not to pay volunteers. And I think things like Czech and Slovak festivals that are true to our culture, they're priceless, right? So it doesn't matter how much effort it takes. It's in our blood. But when we look at doing incremental things that are purely for money, I'll say the 10K or the Night at the Races, where it's not a Sokol event, I'm just thinking on behalf of Detroit, if we add something, how do we make sure that we're adding something that's got the right return for the volunteer time investment? Or would we drop something else that we've been doing? That's just a question to the group.
Any other thoughts on that? Either for this or other fundraisers, Thomas?
Well, the 10K, all of our volunteers, we give them for the 10K, they are fed the steak dinner. They are bars opened up to them. They enjoy the entertainment. They just don't have a chance to win the money. Now, if they want to do a 50-50 or something else of that nature, do the card game or any other things, they can. But we definitely feed our volunteers. We take care of our volunteers because that is the heart and soul of it. And they want to come out. And when they do that, then we create that atmosphere of camaraderie and fun, and don't make it so, oh, well, you didn't serve it right. You didn't do that. It doesn't make a difference. Just let them have it, So we're easy on our volunteers. We try to be, so we get them back.
I also, for Oktoberfest, I like to make the shifts kind of shorter so a person can enjoy the Oktoberfest, pop in for a shift, and hopefully go back to partying. Because if I'm expecting someone to work 4 hours, they might say no simply because then I don't get to go to the Oktoberfest, or that's all I can give, so why would I only spend it volunteering? So I do try to make those a little more manageable. And then we've also, since like our event is definitely community-based, we try to balance it with fundraisers that definitely don't take as many people throughout the year as well. So we have other Sokol only fundraisers that definitely are run by maybe 1 or 2 folks, that kind of balances out the need for volunteers so that you're bringing in decent, and a lot of those actually bring in a good profit. Like our quiz nights and our Super Bowl squares. We have a vendor fair that doesn't really take too much work, brings in a ton of money. So we balance that throughout the year to ensure that this one big event that we're asking a lot of, hopefully will offset with the fun, the funds that we do make for it.
And with ours, similarly, our volunteers, they'll get the meal, they'll get the bar. And we have this as a catered event simply because we don't want to take advantage of having our kitchen crew make another meal, for the event. So, that kind of offsets some volunteering for us as well.
Ours is the same way with volunteers. In order to get into Westfest, you have to pay. So we make sure all our volunteers have a ticket to get in, and our hours are like only 2-hour shifts, but most of them enjoy coming in so they can learn how the funnel cakes are made. And so that's how we do our volunteers on there.
So just by a show of hands, which events have an admission fee that you've shared? And then do volunteers pay that fee if you have one?
You mean to get in, like, to get into the West Fest, we give them each
Yeah.
a ticket so that they
Yeah,
don't have
okay.
to pay to get in.
Perfect.
Yeah, which is
Thank
in
you.
turn is great because then when they go see their kids perform, they don't have to pay to get in, so.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I already, we had a good question here, just does anyone do an event for members that does not require any volunteers or a limited number of volunteers? I know Cassie mentioned a few that Sokol Spirit does. Does anybody else have any sort of fundraising activities that does that? Whether you're on the panel or is there somebody in the audience who has anything they'd like to share for that? That's a great question.
Well, I would just like to say, I think our membership dinner, we try not to utilize, we don't, we try to make that about our members. So we have our dinner catered in and maybe just a couple people set it up, but then we don't really want people, working the membership dinner because that's what we're there to honor our members and thank them for all their years, so.
Any other thoughts?
Sorry, Kathy, your membership dinner has no fee. It's purely a member appreciation night.
Well, the people who are being honored do not pay. If I'm not being honored, I'll pay, I think it's $5 or $7 just to break even with the cost of the food and things like that. So it's not a fundraiser, but yeah, we do let the honorees eat for free.
What were the events Cassie talked about that were free? Could you describe those a little? That sounded interesting.
The events that don't take a lot of work.
You had mentioned 2 events, I think, that you said that didn't take work or were
Yeah.
good fundraisers.
We have a wreath sale. We use a local company not far from here that handles all the work, and I just organize some order forms. We do Super Bowl squares, which is like virtual. That's one person. Our quiz nights, so it's a team trivia night. That really only takes 3 to 4 people. We do the greeting cards. It's like we don't make them. It's a business that we just fundraise with. So they only take like one person to do. So those are some of the things we've been doing recently. I know the vendor fair, which has grown a lot in our neighborhood. The women's class handles it, and that's probably between 7 to 10 people that really take the lead on that. And that's a big event. Even it just doesn't take too many people. We kind of come together as a membership to put that together.
Wonderful. I'm going to chime in. We're running out of time for the night, so I want to just take a moment real quick. Couple of quick announcements. Number one, thank you to Mary Beth, Joyce, Julie, Jane, Howie, Thomas, and Cassie for sharing. I will say one idea that I do have that I would love to do in the future is maybe a focus on fundraisers that are not as labor intensive. These were kind of some different events that all took different approaches, but had similar elements to it. So, but again, some of these are really great opportunities to explore for your units. So I'd love to see that in the future. We would love to feature and highlight some of these. We will be having a next town hall meeting will be in January with a different topic. I am putting that in the screen now, so everyone should be able to see. That is going to be on Monday, January 30th, same time as tonight. We are going to focus on fitness programs. Those programs are going to be outside of the traditional Sokol program, but really new ideas for programs. And we're looking forward to working with Mary and the BOI of finding and featuring some units that have really good events that we can feature for that. If you have any events that you have found to be successful within your units, I would love for you to share those with me. I'm going to put my information in the chat here so that you have that. And if you would like to share any fundraiser or fundraising resources that you have, I would love to put those. We are going to post some snippets from everybody here on the American Sokol website on the admin page coming up here. I'm going to work on collecting those and try to have those in the new year. So you can have a one pager, some quick resources and everything. So we appreciate that. Otherwise, I will stick around in case anybody has any other follow-up questions, but I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to disconnect from the Facebook Live and stop recording now. But thank you so much to all of our panelists. Thank you for joining us. This will be available on our Facebook page and a YouTube channel for the American Sokol in the near future. So please take a look. If you have somebody that you know that missed tonight that could benefit from this, we would love for you to be sure to invite them and remind them about that. So thank you so much. I'm going to stop sharing now, and we're going to stop the recording.